Bella Ballerina here and welcome back to my YouTube. Today I'm taking you on a little adventure as I share my recent birthday trip to the enchanting city of Florence. Now, normally I jet off for work, either modelling or performing, but this time was different, a personal getaway for me. Just had a lovely dinner with an amazing view from the top of Florence. We're on the outskirts and we just went on a wander and found a beautiful rose garden and some traditional housing, and there is a Bollywood performer dancing up here, which I did not expect to see. There's a nice little crowd, so we spent some time watching that and going to go and explore a bit more of Florence. After finishing a wonderful meal at the top of the hill just over Florence, my adventure began as I hopped back into my cute rental Fiat 500 and drove down into the city centre. I wandered through the picturesque streets of Florence on the hunt for those perfect photo spots. Just in time, I captured the mesmerising sunset, casting a warm glow over my lovely pink dress. I travelled very light for this shoot and managed to squish my pointe shoes into my handbag. I was eager to create some ballet images amidst the beauty of the city. While exploring the beautiful city and looking at all the amazing buildings, I noticed a few artists and we took some B-roll just of them painting the scene. And later on that day, I shared that I was in Florence. And amazingly, one of these artists had been following me for a while on Instagram and messaged me saying that they were there as well. This is the oil painting Daniel did of Dante on a canvas panel, 12 by 16 inches. I managed to avoid purchasing any of the antiques that I saw in the windows, as tempting as some of them were. After all the walking around, I found myself very hungry and thought the trip wouldn't be complete without some authentic Italian gelato. A lot of the places looked very touristy, so I found somewhere that looked more like where the locals would go. Rather than getting a traditional cone, they had this flowered shaped cup cone, and I thought that would be easier to walk around with and avoid getting sticky fingers. Whilst I was finishing my ice cream, a beautiful golden retriever came trotting past me, and he really didn't look like he was enjoying the Italian weather as much as I was. Back to another cinematic shot of me walking down one of Florence's dark streets. Don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure there's some history behind the creating of shade in city centres so that the community could still work during the day in the hot weather. Round every corner in Florence seems to be another beautiful building, but this one is the main one, the Cathedral of Florence. It's incredible to think this was made by hand by talented Italians without any power tools at all. I really wanted to get some ballet pictures in front of this amazing monument, so I found somewhere to sit down and change my shoes. I don't usually take my pretty and new pointe shoes out into the streets because they get ruined very quickly. I usually wear pointe shoes made by Frieds, as they are made to fit my feet exactly, but sometimes I also wear Block and Gainer Minden. When my pointe shoes come to the end of their life and they are too soft for me to dance in, I like to sell them or send them to my fans. I was super happy with how this photo came out, and don't worry, I did have some shorts on underneath. I wish I'd had longer to spend in Florence, as I feel I only really saw the touristy bits. And the longer you get to spend in a city, the more you get to know what's really going on. Had I had more time here, I feel I would have been able to find out some of the local secrets. For the last shoot of the day, I thought I'd put on a little show in the square with the merry-go-round in the background. Time for another shoe change and to get away from the tourist traps of Florence. Here I am after taking a stroll along the river under the moonlight. This part of Florence has an amazing bridge connecting one side to the other, which is full of houses and shops. Florence still retains some beautiful bridges that have shops on them. I wish London had kept their version of these bridges. It really adds to European cities. Some of the locals were enjoying a film outdoors by the riverfront. I didn't really read what this bust was, but it looked amazing and it was right in the middle of the bridge. This looks like a great place to play poo sticks. This is making me really look forward to next summer where I can be out walking about in dresses again. For security, when the shops are closed, they have these beautifully crafted shutters, very different to the ones we're used to seeing now. Especially in London, the metal riot shutters are nowhere near as nice to look at. These even have little peepholes into the shop windows. Yeah, you can see in the shop the peepholes. Here's me being a complete tourist, window shopping, admiring this metal buttock, thinking where I could put it in my own home. I had one more yummy meal in Florence before I headed back to the hotel. This is the only picture that we captured. European food really is some of the best in the world. I was staying a little bit outside of Florence. The hotel was actually in Tuscany. So on the penultimate day of the trip, we decided to head into Siena and watch the Siena di Palio. Before the race began, I stumbled upon a hidden gem, an incredible vintage shop near the town centre. I couldn't resist and ended up purchasing a gorgeous white shirt dress. Honestly, the Palio racing event didn't quite match my preferences. We waited a whopping 5 hours for the race to start, enduring warm weather, people vaping around us, and an unfriendly group nearby, which wasn't exactly my cup of tea. Despite these less than ideal conditions, the race itself turned out to be surprisingly exhilarating. Palio was first held in 1482 as a civic celebration. Lasting about a minute, the race consists of 3 turns around the Piazza del Campo, the main city square. To guarantee an optimal viewing experience, we set our alarms early and arrived at the centre pit, where it's free to spectate. However, the anticipation was prolonged by multiple false starts, ultimately delaying the race by over an hour, which felt like a lifetime. Nevertheless, we persevered, securing a prime spot to make the most of the unique racing spectacle. Once the race is finished, everyone makes a run for it and tries to catch a glimpse of the winning team, which is pretty scary with everyone running all over the place, but managed to make it out safely. If you have any recommendations, feel free to drop them in the comments below. And of course, if you enjoyed this adventure, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and ring the notification bell for more travel tales and behind the scene glimpses into the life of a freelancer. All my love, Bella Ballerina.